Rick Sullivan, new president, CEO of the Economic Development Council of Western Mass. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for being with us. Appreciate it, sir. Good to have you.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
You've been city councilor, the mayor of Westfield, commissioner of conservation and recreation, secretary of energy and environmental affairs, chief of staff to Governor Deval Patrick in his final year in office. It was a busy time. How do you think all of this leads you now to what you'll be doing, heading up the Economic Development Council? Seems like a logical progression.
Well, I think it's a lot of the skill sets that I have developed over the last 20 years, and I think the resume hopefully doesn't show that I just can't keep a job, that I've learned some things along the way. Clearly, first and foremost, I am a Western Mass person, and was recognized that in Governor Patrick's cabinet. And so this job in particular is the ability to come home and hopefully bring some of the contacts and information that I have from working in the last 7.5 years in Boston, and really bringing it in a passionate way for an area of the Commonwealth that I love. Western Massachusetts has so much to offer in terms of a great place to work and live, to bring your business, to grow your business. And I think I've got the skill set to be able to articulate that, and the relationships have been built to be able to take that case to a much bigger audience, because Western Massachusetts is an exciting time right now. And I think that there's a lot of opportunity to grow Western Mass and to grow the business opportunities, and to ultimately, at the end of the day, improve the quality of life here in Western Massachusetts. So I am very comfortable on this platform, and as you say, I think it's a position that I have probably grown into.
Let's talk about EDC, because I think as an organization, it's probably not greatly understood by a lot of people. It is not a government operation. It is funded by the business community. Dates back to the mid-90s when folks said, we've got to have something, some entity that's basically out there blowing the horn for Western Massachusetts.
Right. It really comes out of a plan for progress back those years ago, where the business leaders got together, and that is really what this is. It's the business leaders recognizing the importance of the economy and economic growth here in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. They understand, that if people are coming and prospering, they're going to have more disposable income to spend in their businesses. But it is the business leaders. It's the Mass Mutuals. It's the Bay State. It's the Big Ys. It's all of the companies that are committed to Western Massachusetts and understand the importance and understand the connection between economic growth and their prosperity and what it really means to the quality of life. So it's really a unique model across the Commonwealth in the fact that you may find other economic development councils, but you will not find them as well supported by the business community. You will not see them singly focused in terms of growing the economy of a region. So we're very fortunate in Western Massachusetts to have those businesses step up and understand it's part of their corporate responsibility to give back to the region, and they do it through the EDC.
Let's talk about, you mentioned a minute ago, you said it's an exciting time in the area right now. And of course, a lot of that focuses on MGM, Resorts International, coming in, $800 million investment. I mean, that's huge no matter what it is. You've got the Chinese company, Changchun, I always mispronounce it, but basically the world's biggest maker of railway cars. They've got a huge contract they're going to fulfill for the T in Boston, and the list could go on and on. It does seem like, after some very tough years for Springfield in particular, and if Springfield hurts, the region hurts, it does seem like things are looking up, and there's a new confidence both in the city itself and in people coming to and dealing with the city.
Right, and I actually just had this conversation. I mean, part of this job will actually have the people that live here in Western Massachusetts look differently of our own communities and really of ourselves, that, hey, we are moving forward. We are a good place to be living. There's a lot going on here. You're going to be able to, over the next couple of years, probably some motorists and some others are going to be a little put out. You're going to have a lot of cranes in the sky. That's going to show a lot of progress. It's going to show a vibrant community. That's going to happen here in Springfield. You mentioned the rail car company. I mean, 60% of that project needs to be built here in Western Massachusetts. That has to happen in the Commonwealth in order to fulfill that contract. And then that company's mission and goal is to get really a beachhead here so that they can bid into other national companies, because the rail cars have to be built in the U.S. if they're bidding on those kinds of contracts. So there's a huge opportunity there. But there's also other parts of the economy that maybe aren't so readily visible. So you have a vibrant entrepreneurial company. You've had companies step up and do angel investments and bring capital into the marketplace to allow startups to happen. You've got UMass and our other schools schools of higher education that are here and growing in clean energy and in water innovation, and the spin-offs and the companies that can come out of that. They will be smaller. They'll be 3, 4, 5, 10 employees. But when you do 5 or 10 of those, all of a sudden that's a big impact. So really the face of the economy here in Western Massachusetts can change greatly. And I think the next couple of years are going to be, just a great opportunity for us.
Do we have a little bit of an inferiority complex? I mean, we've got Big Brother Boston just 90 minutes down the road, and that's a world-class city, and maybe they're going to host the Olympics. And here we are in the Pioneer Valley, little Western Massachusetts, but with a lot of really cool stuff that we have that Boston can't have or replicate.
Absolutely. I mean, I used to say I drive that turnpike every single day when I was in the Patrick administration, and always had that kind of chip on your shoulder that we're from Western Massachusetts. But you're right. I mean, we have something here that they do not have anywhere else. We have a quality of life in terms of our recreational opportunities, our open space opportunities, our cultural opportunities are all right here, and locally you can easily get to them on any single given night, whether it's the symphony or a hockey game at the Mass Mutual Center. You can still go. It's affordable. Our quality of life here is unsurpassed anywhere else in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And when you're looking at a business opportunity, we are really at the crossroads of New England. It is so easy to get to Hartford or New York or Boston or any other market here, whether it's by car and 91 in the Pike, or whether it's by our aviation system, whether it's our local airports here or down at Bradley, rail, freight. That is all right here. When you look at a map, we are truly at the crossroads. There's just a huge opportunity there, and we need to rethink about exactly who we are in Western Massachusetts. And in fact, we can be better, and there's great opportunities ahead.
How excited are you about all the attention now that's being focused on commuter rail? The idea that suddenly we could become bedroom community for the Boston area, or people from here could much more easily get down to Hartford, New Haven for some of the big paying jobs there, and some of the tech firms that are on that side of the border. I know your operation looks, the border doesn't matter so much to you. That's kind of an imaginary line, yep. Connecticut, Mass line, but what could that mean to this area?
Well, it means that the world gets smaller, our region gets smaller. You can live wherever you can afford to live and be able to get to those jobs. Again, it's just an opportunity. Governor Patrick used to talk about being able to grow out the economic prosperity to all parts of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Well, that's what you do. You have to make stronger connections there. Some of them are transportation, and certainly a higher speed rail would fit that bill. We do have the great opportunity through the connections in the Knowledge Corridor, connections into Connecticut and up through our schools of higher ed to really make a huge impact there. And many of our businesses look to the Connecticut and look to those other markets. So whether it's, again, Mass Mutual or the Big Ys, they're equally as busy on that side. So it's an imaginary line. So it is just a great opportunity there.
One of the things that's being talked about a lot now, too, a real push to make sure we have the workforce that's ready to go, to match training to the jobs that are coming. I know that's something EDC has been following for a long time.
Right. I mean, that is kind of the linchpin to the whole thing. One of the things that any company, whether when they're growing or looking to locate, they're going to look at the quality of the workforce. So it's important that the workforce training match the skill sets that the companies are looking for. And again, some of it is not necessarily the 3,000 employees, which are absolutely important for gaming when MGM comes in. Some of it is much more focused on advanced manufacturing, and you really have a almost invisible backbone of precision, advanced manufacturing here in Western Massachusetts. And each one of those smaller businesses is looking for 1 or 2 or 10 employees, which doesn't sound like a lot or a big deal. But if you can get 7 or 8 or 10 of those, then all of a sudden, you're talking 100 new employees. And those are really good jobs. And we in Western Massachusetts can absolutely do that. But we have to focus the workforce training on the specific skill sets that those companies need. And again, our community colleges, our schools of higher education, working with our business communities and the REB and others, are tying that all in together to better match the skill sets that are needed for the training and the education that's going on in our schools.
Well, Rick Sullivan, again, congratulations on the new post with the Economic Development Council. Thanks for spending some time with us, sir.
My pleasure. Thanks. Anytime.